I've been thinking a lot lately, Sherry, about whether the work we do is recovery work or just life work, just growth work. We meet a lot of people who, when they are working on their recovery, when they're coming back from something traumatic, obviously in the case of what we do, often alcoholism, they dive right in, head first, 100%, and they spend the necessary time doing the writing, doing the reading, doing the connecting, and they're all in. But then over time, they reach a plateau. They reach a point where they're not in trauma and chaos anymore. And so they just kind of fade away and stop doing the work. And then often those people boomerang back and they're in a bad situation again. And they're like, I thought I was healed. Why do I have to continue to write about my emotions or explore my feelings?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
And I think a lot of the times we think we're okay, things are gonna go well, and I I know I've done that. I've kind of not continued to do the work, and it's not always the work of recovery or dealing with the alcohol. And I've heard people say, I just want to put that chapter behind me. We're past that. I'm beyond that. I feel good. But if you and actually I just saw a clip on it from Jimmy in relationships.
Jimmy.
He's on YouTube, and he said, people fall back into habits. Like, he gets people that'll write and say, I am in a new relationship and now I feel like this person is like a narcissist. So he said, we just kind of have these habits. We have to keep doing this inner work because we're kind of drawn to relationships that might, or it's that we're hyper vigilant, and so then we get all scared and nervous and think that everything is a red flag. So I think that it's not so much a continuous work of recovery, it's just a continuous work of yourself and growth and learning and educating yourself and learning more about yourself, because especially for us partners of alcoholics, we've kind of forgotten who we are, or maybe it's like who we want to be, going back to who we used to be maybe before we met a partner, or being somebody different because it led us to that partner in that situation. So I think that it's real easy to say I'm closing the chapter, the recovery side of things, but then fail to continue to grow as a human being.
I think you're right. I think when we try to close that off, it's another form of just pushing it down, because the way to keep growing and developing and transforming as a human is to keep exploring, and it's just another form of ignoring it and hoping it goes away when we try to compartmentalize recovery and say that part's over, I don't need anything anymore, I'm good, I'm healed.
Yeah.
So I like to keep reading and writing. I also, for the reputation that social media has, the toxicity, I find that if I can get the algorithm to show me people I admire saying inspiring things, it's actually uplifting. It's not just doom scrolling like they say.
Yeah.
You've started writing recently. Again, you've started writing to the prompts in our Echoes of Recovery group. What has that done for you?
Well, I think that it kind of has reminded me that it's not always maybe the prompt that I'm writing to, but as I begin to write to it, something else is creeping up to the top. Like, for example, it was about saying no. It was about saying no to something that I was going to have to put a little extra time and energy and effort into, and I don't even know if it would really be helping the other person that I was trying to, or the other two people I was trying to benefit and trying to make this connection. So I was like, no, I'm just out. They need to find their own way. And I don't feel like that's a selfish thing. It's just, I don't think I'm going to be the connector here. And I don't have to play that role. I feel like I needed to be the helper. I feel like because I knew somebody that had this situation and I knew somebody that can maybe help. But I don't think they're going to be a good fit. And I was like, why am I going to try to interject myself there? Like, they're going to do their research to find their person, and that person that can offer the service are going to find the people that they need to provide the service for. I mean, I'm being vague because I don't want to give details, but it was just about serving myself first in a way, but not, because then I would have guilt if it wouldn't work out, and I would think that they feel badly about my butting in, to help the situation. So I decided I'm removing myself from that situation because I don't have to be the fixer. I don't have to find the connection. I don't have to find the answer.
Well, you mentioned selfishness. I think selfishness gets a bad rap. If you are, a good person who is generous and kind and loving and empathetic and compassionate, being selfish is actually a good thing because it means you're following your own values and you're doing the things that are important to you. And like I said, if you're a good person at your core, do the things that are important to you.
Yeah.
They'll benefit not only you, but probably benefit others as well.
Yeah,
So
and we just
I love that.
Well, and we just had a conversation with Billy Wynn on our podcast, and he mentions, kind of listening to how your body's feeling when you are maybe doing something. And I was feeling kind of manipulative. I was not feeling good about when somebody asked me to make this connection. I just didn't feel good about it. It didn't set right with me, and I was really listening to that. And then I'm at peace with saying no, that. I don't have to be that answer. No, I'm maybe not the right person. I'm not the right tool to connect these two or connect these people to do their own side of it, So I kind of felt good about that. And I felt that probably meant that I wasn't the right tool. I wasn't the right person to do the job. And feeling icky about it in the beginning, I should have listened to that more and said no in the moment when I was asked, other than pondering on it for a while and then starting to write about it.
Was that author Billy Wynn, author of the new book, The Empty Path?
Yes.
Available from New World Library at your local bookstore or on Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great conversation.
That was a great conversation.
One of the things I've noticed, Sherry, is that a lot of the work and growth that you endeavor on now, you wouldn't have done if we didn't have that dark chapter of alcoholism in the past. So really, I think you owe me a debt of gratitude for being an alcoholic.
Well, you could say that.
Sherry, is that a cabbage in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?